that we're live for the first time. Woo-hoo! This is Rob and I's second time. Is this our second time we've done this? Yeah. Yesterday was our
Uh,
first. Today's our second. Yesterday was a pre-recorded one that I screwed up really bad, so I want to apologize to everyone.
do we have to mute?
Stand by.
You're
Yeah, I got a minute
getting
though.
up. You're echoing.
Yep, I think I just took care of that.
You're echoing.
Man, there's a lot of bugs.
Mute.
It's coming from your side.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, how about now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. What the hell
I
was
hear
that?
you. I don't know, but that was horrible. Hi,
Yeah.
Brandy Phillips. Hi, Ancient History Criticisms. Hi, Rob Heatherly. All right, so
Okay, I think we have it
the
under
show
control.
must go on. I wrote down some notes today, folks, and man, I'm very excited about tonight's live stream. We've got some really great news. I want to start off by saying stand by. First, I want to apologize for yesterday's video. Yeah, I basically I made a video on my tablet and I uploaded it, and there it was corrupted, I guess. The words didn't match up with the audio, or the video didn't match up with the audio. And when it comes to comedy, timing is everything, right? So I had some really funny bits in there that just didn't, it didn't come off well because the audio and the video just weren't matched up. So the point is that there's a message that Rob and I have, and I hope you guys will stick around and listen to what we got tonight, what we have in store, because I had to check my blood pressure. That's how good it is. Okay, my wife demanded me to check my blood pressure this evening. Oh, we got some more people here. Let's see. No, the last of the finest. Hey man, how you doing? This live thing is gonna. I think it's going to work. So far, keep the gremlins away, and I think if I calm down, things will be all right. All right. So my apology for yesterday's broadcast. As time goes on, things will get a lot smoother. We'll be more prepared for what we have to say. But the thing is, when we do a pre-recorded one, at least I can take out all the times I say, I can cut all that out, and it makes a heck of a shorter video. And the other thing is that when there's funny things that I want to insert, I like to make my videos, entertaining at the same time as being informative. Okay. Also, I want to thank all my subscribers. As of, I think it was late last night, early this morning, we went over 700 subscribers, which is awesome for really just having 3 broadcasts. One with Lou, which is a big name. Now, I don't know who we can have on here that's bigger than that, right?
We'll try.
And then yesterday's screw up and this live stream today. So I'm very grateful that we have all of you. And I assure you, we have some big things in store. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay, back to my notes. All right. If you guys were able to at least hear yesterday's broadcast, we went over 2 videos. One was a triangle. Oh no, I'm not even a triangle. It would be a pyramid or it could be, what's the name of the shape, Rob?
Decahedron, something like that.
Yeah, it could be that shape. We'll find out. It was above the Pentagon, and there's at least 2 videos that I've seen it above the Pentagon, and there was one years earlier above the Kremlin, and that video wasn't good. I know some major news networks did report on that, and of course Russia denied it. Of course. Okay.
Of course.
You guys ready for some breaking big news on that? Right here. The podcast, and I recommend it to everybody. It's Need to Know. It has Ross Cohart and Bryce. Hope I pronounce his last name properly. Zabel. Yep. They've had a really great podcast, very informative. The last, I don't know how long they've been doing it. It hasn't been that long. And
about a year.
Yep, about a year. Well, guess what? You guys look them up. Look at episode 16. There's a video that came out of them saying that they're in contact with someone that was in the Navy who saw a triangle as big as, I think it was a cruiser at the time. It was USS Virginia, South Carolina or something, and they were both nuclear powered ships. And the USS Eisenhower was out there off the coast of Puerto Rico, and hopefully we get more news about this. But they went to general quarters. That sounds very familiar. If you know my case number 1, the ship went to general quarters. The only thing that was different is that they launched a missile at this triangle. Ross did do some research and come to find out it was an accidental discharge of a missile. Now, hold on, folks. I gotta drink some water here because I'm talking a lot, but I've got a lot to say. This investigation that Ross was doing about the missile accidentally shooting off, and the 20 years of service in the United States Navy, and I've been on several ships that had these vertical launching systems. They're on the bow of the ship, and they're like toward the fantail of the ship. And I forgot how many they are. Many missiles. They're surface-to-air missiles. Also, they carry Tomahawks, right? And not once did a missile just shoot, just out of the clear blue sky. It just went off. Oh, that must have been an accidental discharge. No, that never happened, folks. That never happens. And if it did, I guarantee you there would have been a huge naval investigation. People would have lost their jobs. The captain would have lost his job because they would have found out everything goes to the captain. Everything's its fault. Something goes bad, it's the captain's fault. That's where the buck stops. Yeah. If he was sleeping in his rack and a missile shot off accidentally, guess what? The captain gets fired.
Yeah, it's like when the 2 naval ships collided in Japan, the sea in the South China Sea. When they collided, the admiral over the entire fleet was fired over that because he's ultimately responsible for everything that happens.
Can you imagine a bunch of bosun mates up on the forecastle or the fantail of the ship doing some deck preservation? They're out there chipping with a needle gun, and they're out there priming, and they're painting the ship, and right there a missile goes off. That is the plume that comes off these missiles is extremely toxic. I know because I can smell it when I was on the bridge, and we would have a missile go off during training or something. It's like phosphorus, and that no. All right. back to case number 1, folks. I got an update on case number 1, and for all you new folks, that's the go back in my videos. I did a story about a UFO above the John F. Kennedy back in 1971. I interviewed a firsthand witness. All right, so please go back and watch that. For those who know the story, we have an update. Today, Rob and I were in a meeting with a bunch of folks, and I can't mention their names, but one of them is getting me in contact with another sailor who saw this orb, huge orb, as big as the John F. Kennedy, what my witness said. So once we get more information, I interview this individual, and we got something to share. We're going to do that as soon as possible. So please stand by for that. Please hit subscribe and that notification bell so you will not miss that that information when that news breaks. Rob, I'm talking away. You got anything you want to say? Add to all this? I'll just keep talking and talking.
No, go ahead.
It was a wonderful day, man. Wonderful day with the things we found out. Anything good in the chat?
Yeah, Arlene showed up. We've got some primetime players moving in that we know. They're all primetime to us, but names are recognized as well. So bonus.
Great. Yeah.
And I was trying to make some mods here, but for some reason it's not working today. So I'll figure it out later. We'll get wrenches passed out eventually to more people as soon as I figure it out.
This is our first live broadcast, folks. It doesn't get no green than this.
Yeah, that's right. We's rookies.
Yeah.
Yep. Bear with us, man. We're gonna do something, even if it's wrong, but we'll do something.
Yeah, we're gonna make a lot of mistakes. I guarantee you. I may even say something that I shouldn't have said, but that's okay.
No, you're fine, man. We're gonna have an all-star lineup for our fundraiser, and it's gonna be interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. And you want to go in? We want to go into that now. So you brought it up. Let's go into it. Go ahead. And,
okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Go ahead.
Let's drop that bomb.
Start it off, Rob.
Yeah, as we spoke of previously, we were going to have a veteran fundraiser. So we've been getting with some primetime players of what ideas we're kicking around. Lou, as we all know, is not able to do any more UFO-related podcasts for the interim, but he did agree that he would help with the fundraiser where he's able, and would steer some others our way that would also lend some star power to this for the fundraiser. Not necessarily to speak on the topic of UFOs, potentially that might be something in play that comes with that. Probably so, but I can't promise that. But we're definitely going to have an all-star lineup to help with the fundraiser specifically, and hopefully there'll be some collateral all-out benefits from there. And when we are able to share more names, we will. But they are also wanting us to reach out for a local no-kill animal shelter in Wyoming. So we're going to basically be doing a veterinarian fundraiser, so kind of like Vets and Vets type thing. So it's going to be cool. And it's probably going to be big, which is go big or go home. We're cool with that.
Yeah, I'm very honored that they're making this like my dream. It is my dream. Putting myself in a position and my name out there to help veterans. Personally, the Wounded Warrior Project has changed my life. When I was diagnosed with a bunch of medical issues and I was incapacitated most of the day from my illness, I had to get a bunch of my records in from the VA. And if anybody has ever dealt with the VA, it is a nightmare. I almost have PTSD if I hear that hold music, on hold music. I just can't stand it. But long story short, I was able to get somebody from the Wounded Warrior Project to be my what's the word I'm looking for? Be my advocate. That is the exact word I'm looking for. To be my advocate. And apparently, my advocate has a phone number, and they didn't have to go through that phone tree like I did. It was a phone number to go through the back door and talk to some head person, because after that one phone call, they called me right back and said, we took care of it. You're 100% disabled. And there you go. And I extremely appreciative. We've been fighting these guys for like years. And not only they gave me the 100%, they were able to go back and grandfather all that other benefits back to me. So it's going to be my honor to be able to do something to help them out, because their job is to help our men and women in uniform now and in the future. And I think there is a criteria. You can go on their website and look it up. You can't, let's say, it wouldn't benefit if you're like a Vietnam veteran, Korean War veteran, World War II veteran. They I think it's a post 9/11 organization where they help. Yeah, they help those service members. That's their mission statement. But I don't want to say something that's not on their mission statement. That's how I understand it.
I'm fairly certain it's post 9/11 veterans. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is important, because as much as it's given to you, this is your chance to give back, and not just now, but it'll help memorialize those that are going down on this. And Vince, if you live to be 100 years old, but this will be a lasting legacy.
I think
so.
This
tremendous.
I may live to be 100, God willing, but to have something like that attached to me as my dream, and something to be that big.
Yeah,
I'm very honored.
We're gonna make sure it gets big. We're not gonna do this small change.
You guys that are in the audience, you have any questions? Because I just went over all my material. My goal was to go live for the first time, go over our notes that we just had. Right after we had our big meeting with big wigs, I basically put Rob here right into the chat room, and we started this live. I said, let's do it live. So see, if this was recorded, I'd put what is that dude's name? He was he said, F it, we'll do it live. What?
I can't remember.
See,
if anybody in the chat has some
I'm gonna have to look at someone in the chat and know who I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. What is that? He was Inside Edition before he went. No Spin Zone. Remember that on Fox?
Bill O'Reilly.
That's who said it, Bill O'Reilly. So yeah, I'll put Bill O'Reilly. F it, we'll do it live. Yeah.
Yeah, they're asking if we have any information to share about the fundraiser yet. We're still ironing out the details of it, and as soon as we get information, we'll put it on the community page on the YouTube channel here, and I will hammer it all over Twitter, and probably DM the shiz out of you guys with it as well. So I will make sure.
We definitely need all your help, because this is going to be big, and I appreciate all your help, and by what you can do for us. You'll have a big part in it as well. There's going to be big giveaways. I don't want to right now say what the big giveaways are going to be, but there's going to be a big name. There's going to be a big name giving something possibly away. and
Yeah.
along with everyone's a winner here, especially these veterans that need help.
There's probably going to be some big names that aren't recognized yet that will come out
Yep.
for this.
There is, because they're networking it.
Maybe their debut, potentially, and maybe some of them can even speak on UFO topics, which would be awesome, because that's what we were here for primarily to start with. But as anybody that knows me and Shannon now, we don't stay in just one discipline. We're kind of all over the place. But anybody has any questions tonight, half of my research team here at Ancient History are present and accounted for. So if you've got questions on ancient stuff, those are the people to be asking. Uchronia, Utopia, and Ancient History Criticisms, they have tremendous channels here on YouTube as well, with chock full of ancient history stuff. I'll put mine back up online with my playlist soon. Still sorting out some BS from that, but we'll get it.
Brandy, thank you for visiting. Come back and watch the rest of the video and catch our next live broadcast whenever we do it. It may be tomorrow, it may be next Monday, it may be next Friday, who knows? But as soon as we do one, we'll try to have an hour standby before we go live, so you can make sure you hit that notification. That's where you're going to know. Hit the notification. All right, someone here said, OJ Overland. Yeah, I like that. That's a nice Jeep, man.
Tia Loreno's asking if we heard about the scientist that came out with the report. I think she means George Knapp with Travis Taylor, that had been part of the UAP task force, or may still be. That was, I think, serendipitous that he's on Skinwalkers to continue what OSAP tried to accomplish when they pulled out of there with Bigelow. They didn't leave any of their notes behind. They didn't continue the program. They sold it to the present owner. I can't think of his name at the moment, but
Brandon.
Brandon Fugel. He didn't get any notes with it when he came on board. So they're having to reinvent the wheel, and you would think that the intelligence community would pass on their notes of what OSAP gleaned out of it. Not, ATIP was
apparently those notes didn't come with a property purchase.
Nope, and ATIP didn't get the notes from OSAP. That they inherited the program, but they lost their notes too and didn't get them to OSAP. So now Lou doesn't have them in them. So they're having to go back to Skinwalker and reinvent the wheel, and they're even thinking that at this point they may have that they may be leaning in on why Bigelow and OSAP, what they were trying to hide, because they were saying with the property sale not to dig unless they cleared it with them, which is kind of odd when you buy something like that you'd have to get permission from the previous owners before you dig on it. Did they have an underground facility there? Because I remember for Bigelow to take the contracts, he had to set up a security protocol with secure hardened facilities and staff both. So, and I know one of those facilities was underground, and I'm sure that he's had other holdings of properties. But what better place would you have to bury something than have an underground facility than a Skinwalker? So if they blew the hatch in the X build when they left the scene, there may be some remnants of that there. But I dare say that's not what's putting out all the radiation signals and things. It doesn't explain that at all. So there's, like Travis has said, and Bigelow Brandon Fugel contend that they are not falsifying any information at all. They are having to hold back some classified reports that they are getting from some of their research that needs to be vetted first before they can get it out to the general population. But being on the dream team of a UAP task force and Skinwalker crew, both, and able to do the science out there, where we have ground zero for the hitchhiker effect. It's tremendously important to be able to have somebody in that capacity that's able to fill both roles, so they can cross-pollinate both initiatives. So I think it's an excellent idea.
I can say certain things that I know for sure. One of the things that people can, purchase for this fundraiser is an artwork piece I did of Lou about a year or so ago. I made it. Lou's got a copy of one on his wall. It's people really like it. In fact, I didn't know that he actually had somebody that did the same kind of artwork for him, the same style that I did. And during Lou's last fundraiser, Lou was able to get the posters of that and sign it. So you'll have the opportunity to have maybe Lou sign some posters. I would love to have a poster of him on my wall. So we know that's going to happen. All right, we got some folks here that have a question.
Okay.
Last of Us said, can you read that down below? Is it you can't? Okay. I was just wondering if it's just me or I know the listeners can see it. Have you ever heard of a strange things happening at is it England Air Force Base? EGLIN Air Force Base.
That's the last of the finest. That's what was in his email that I read through that you copied me on. I've not heard of anything there. Dave with Ukraine Utopia, he's been immersed in ufology, well, not ufology, but studying UFOs and accurate data for decades now. If there's anybody here that would probably have heard of that, anything occurring at Eglin Air Force Base, it would be him. Or I wonder, is that the same base that we mistakenly call Elgin Air Force Base? I'm not sure, but it's in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I've not heard of anything going on there other than the account you wrote up in your email. But we're definitely going to pursue that because that's what this channel is about. So especially where it pertains to veterans experiencing, or sightings or phenomena or just veteran issues in general. So we're not going to exclude anybody, even if they've never served. If they've ever wore a Girl Scout uniform or Boy Scouts, you're in. We don't care.
Yep.
But we want to target military and that sort, but we're not going to alienate anybody. If they have a story to tell and they want to be recognized, and step up and swing. We're all for that.
Heck yeah.
So we don't need an all-star lineup. Yeah, because to me,
you can be anonymous reporting stuff to us.
Yes, we keep things at discretion unless we are instructed otherwise that we can share it. So we hold confidences. That's not a problem. And I get what Arlene was saying. Not are we going to have roundtables or panels and have non-famous experiencers from the military speak and share their accounts? Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're geared toward on this channel. That's in his name that he came up with, Military Witnesses of the UAP. So we didn't preface that it has to be famous military witnesses. Actually, it's better if we don't have somebody famous because we don't want to muddy the waters with somebody that's already, a lot of people have already biased towards them either way. That way we can come in fresh and examine it from a fresh perspective and start from scratch.
Yep. So Last of the Finest here says, my experience there was definitely interesting. If you'd like to share it in the chat, that's fine. I would love to hear it. You can email it to us. Any way you'd like to communicate with us, like to do like to come on right now and talk with us, that's fine too. I can send you a link to the show, and that's to anyone as well. If you got a good story, we'd love to hear it.
Julie's leaving. See you, Julie.
Yep, she gone. Let's see what else we got. Have you guys ever thought of making a list of military personnel who are able to express their opinion, who will stand for the cause of making the UAP phenomenon known? There's power in numbers, and boy, I tell you what, when you're a vet and you got other vets behind you, that's a powerful thing. We don't leave anyone behind. We care for one another.
Definitely. Yeah, we're going to compile a more comprehensive roster of veterans that are prominent, advocating for disclosure, but we're going to focus primarily right now on compiling a list of those that are going to throw in with us for the fundraiser. We'll probably do both because they kind of go hand in hand anyway.
Yeah.
Dave popped
So
up a link in the chat.
Julie Farrell here says, I did live TV once a week for 3 years as a youngster. Takes balls to do it live. Yeah, because you got to watch what you say. I got sailor mouth sometimes, and you know, I can't. Maybe I can, after the show I can edit it out.
Yeah.
Could I do that? Let's say I just spit it out.
You'll lose the chat though. You'll lose the chat if you edit it.
What?
Yep.
Well,
yep.
Yeah. Little story about doing live TV. A year ago, while I was a patient at Mayo Clinic, I know, right? I'm always there. They asked if I wanted to do a at-home hospitalization. It's a new thing they have, right? I said, let's see, be hospitalized and be home. Yeah, sign me up, because I'm one of those people who actually love being around my spouse. And there she goes right there. We wave at her. Maybe she'll wave back. Oh, I think she loved me. She still loved me. So what in the world was I talking? I got off my subject here.
Frequent flyer miles at the
hospital. Yeah. So I'm always in the hospital. They offered the services right here on this chair. I kid you not. They asked if NBC, the Today Show, could come to my house and do a story on me. And I wasn't going to pass that up because I'm an egomaniac, right? Such an egomaniac. I want people to see me all over the world, get my 15 minutes of fame. So they were here.
Right.
So after today's show, after the show, not now, but after the show, go on YouTube, put Mayo Clinic or the Today Show and Mayo Clinic. You'll see my mug. They did a whole story on me. And I have been hospitalized 3 times since that broadcast. I get hospitalized looks like 3 times a year now. So, and each time is about a month. So 1/4 of the year I'm hospitalized.
You've been there technically over half the time I've known you so far.
Yeah. Usually I have IVs in one arm and stuff like that.
They have you in the rock tumbler. This disposable vest to break up chest congestion. I was talking to him one night and he pops on. He's got this big vest like a ski
I got my
flotation device. It's just rattling like a rock tumbler, shaking out the congestion. His eyeballs are rattling around.
This is what he's talking about, folks. It actually connects to the hose, and I have a vest. My understanding, it's $25,000 for this thing. And unfortunately, we have children, because these children don't grow up to be older adults who have cystic fibrosis. And those are the main ones who use this machine. I have the same symptoms as cystic fibrosis, but thing is, I don't have cystic fibrosis. I have another thing called bronchiectasis, and that's brought on by this illness that you see. You see all this. This is caused by rheumatoid, believe it or not. It's given me lung issues and liver issues, and it's been hell. But I'm doing good, I think. Even though I'm in the hospital all the time, all I do is call them up, and I'm hospitalized like that. They just get the emergency room. So I'm going to be fine.
You're lucky to have.
I don't think I can move anywhere. I'll have to stay here in this state. Jacksonville, we have Mayo Clinic here. It is the best hospital in Florida, and if there's another hospital that's better than them, I'd like to know, because man, they're good. There's Winnebagos all in the parking lot in other states.
All I have to say is if you were around here, yeah, you wouldn't survive here long. There ain't nothing here. an hour and a half to get to the nearest major hospital. So yeah, you'd be kind of SOL.
Hello, Owl Ranch Air Gun Fun Channel. Hey, dude. Hi, Terry Haw. All right, let's see.
I am adding people.
Someone put up I don't know what I would see. This is such a new thing for me, this first live show. Someone put up a link. Now,
Dave,
we'll just wait till after the show, right, Rob? And then I can look
to
at
go to it,
links.
but he's giving us more sightings. It's on unidentified aircraft descending on Loring Air Force Base.
Okay.
It reads, when it comes to cases involving unidentified flying objects, fewer is well documented or involve as many people as what occurred at Loring in 1975. So
Right.
that will be something very worth looking into for next time that we will definitely get up to speed on. And we're also looking for information, credible information, or even credible rumors on Antarctica of having any kind of military bases or things that would expand on the Admiral Byrd encounter, anything of that nature that you think might be worth looking into. We're not sure.
If there's, I mean, I don't think there's going to be like photos around. I think what we're going to get is more of testimonial stuff. Hey, my father served with Admiral Byrd, and this is what happened in Antarctica. But how many years ago was that when he was down there? Like
47. Admiral Byrd was there in 1947, soon after World War II.
Okay, that's like 75 years ago. It'd be their it'll be that generation's grandkids right now would know the story. So yeah, my dad and heard this from his dad. That's how that would probably go.
You know, but we're finding that, you know, there's a lot of documents floating around out there that in official channels they weren't floating anymore, but they are suddenly starting to show up. Thank God that they weren't all burnt. And definitely there's a lot of fakes out there that weren't real. Like we're understanding Majestic 12 was a real group, but the Majestic 12 papers that were released weren't actually authentic that I'm hearing. I may be wrong, but that's how I understand it so far. So we're open for coaching. If anybody has any information that, you know, we're obviously not correct on everything at all. So if you hear something that you know is not accurate, please don't worry about hurting our feelings or let us know. Just do it a little tactfully, please. We respond well to fly swatters. We don't need hammers. Thank you very much. So yeah, there's that.
So how many people we got in the chat right now? I have no idea. Let's take a look. More people than I thought.
Well, I've got a couple from the ancient history team, the alternative history that we were so gracious that they took me under their wing 3 years ago, almost 4 now, maybe. Wow, time is going by. They pulled me into this ancient history research community that I had no idea existed, but man, was that a rabbit hole. And I am still in there for life. And now I'm adding this to it as well. It's just this is taking up more time, but we're trying to find the evidence that we can get people to understand that the ancient past, as old as humanity, that we've been having contact with the phenomena in some form, whether it's religious, cryptid, or what we call ultra-terrestrials or extraterrestrials, all the above, that they've come to bear from the inception that they could draw on cave walls 40,000 years ago. So what we have found with the group is the nub, the protrusions that are on the megalithic structures. The reason there are protrusions on them, we don't know exactly why, but it's global. Everywhere that there are megaliths, at least 80% are going to have a nub of some sort on them, and they are not for lifting bosses. Most of them are not for lifting. That much we know, because a lot of them are on unliberated structures that aren't meant to be moved, but they have nubs on, like the side of a mountain that's been faced, things of that nature. But it indicates that there was a global community of builders that we don't know who they are, but we are certain that they use power tools, because my engineering background, I recognize tool marks with power tools easily, and especially stabilized tool marks. You can't get that precision of a cut even if you have a handheld power tool. You have to have some kind of a jig to stabilize it to get a square, precise cut that's uniform.
Right.
with the nubs, like what Andrew says, ancient history criticisms, that indicates that they're real. There's even one on the boss. There's a boss nub inside the Great Pyramid on one of the inner doors that's inside there, deep within one of the passages, that indicates that they were global. They shared at least their tools, their technologies, their knowledge. It was between that, the scoop marks, and the replicated patterns of like the triple doorways, the vaulted ceilings, the triple doorways. There's just so many different similarities that show that we had the polygonal, the complex. We had cyclopean, polygonal, complex, polygonal, and Herodian ashlars, 4 distinct types of block that show at least 3 different generations of paleo contact, where these mystery builders were around the planet and had laid these types of foundations down in their buildings, walls, different things. And that Mario Build Reps has a channel out where he shows that all these megalithic sites line up to polar north, or the true north, but it's shifted 3 different times because the alignments, he's been able to triangulate 3 distinct groups that each, and when you triangulate them, they fall within 3 different pole positions at the north pole, obviously, that indicate 3 different ages of true north for the planet that has shifted over time. So each generation of megalithic builders were at a different time frame is what that indicates, and the nubs is what indicates that they were true artifacts and that they were the same builders. Basically, it's like putting a calling card on there that they were the real deal, and putting basically their stamp on there that, hey, this is ours, and or at least giving homage to the builders proper. It's still something that they call them the nub group, but it's what they research the most, is trying to get that out there with public awareness to let people know that the ancient calling cards of the nubs and things indicate that we've had paleo contact with these mystery builders, non-human intelligences that go back at least 13,000 years. We don't really know how old these are. You can't date stone. Some of these could go back hundreds of thousands of years. We just don't know. So trying to prove that with contemporary UFO knowledge and UAPs and the phenomena. A lot of people think that maybe they just showed up in 47 and even 100, 200 years ago. No, even Jacques Vallée documents in his books that he's got documented sightings that he can, with a high degree of confidence, that goes back to 1400 BC of an account that he's aware of. But I can push it back far, a lot older than that. But he's trying to go what's the most reasonable first, and then start building backward from there, like we do with the nuts and bolts. And then experiencers, it's all important, but you have to lead into what they can believe first, throw them the carrot, and then as they get acclimated and believing what they're reading, then you start feeding them more, and you keep building up the knowledge base from there. And it takes a little while to accept that we were lied to what's in the history books. They couldn't leave gaps of, well, we know what happened, at 0 AD, we've got a blank spot for 1,000 years, so we're just going to fill it in with whatever, fluff and stuff, because we got nothing, and pretend like we know what was there, and then we're going to make it dogmatic, and anybody that speaks against it, we're going to ridicule and destroy their careers. So, we've been lied to. Our history is woefully incomplete, and we're just now getting a sliver of what's really happening in our environment in the history of humanity. And the paleo contact of these ultra-terrestrials, we don't know what they are, factions or orders, we just don't know. But the fact that we're not alone, that part is a foregone conclusion. But from there, it's anybody's guess.
Yep. Someone says here's our Ranch Air Gun Fun channel says, I so dig your knowledge, Rob Heatherly. I agree with you. Our Ranch Air Gun Fun channel. When it comes to this topic, I'm just I'm on the elementary level here. this dude's over here in college level. So I sit back and I just have to ask questions. I can't spit out anything with anything to do with this topic. But nice to hear that. Someone had a question here.
Ancient history criticisms and Ukrainian utopia. They've got their doctorate in this. They're on Twitter too. You can check out their YouTube channels, but you can also find them on Twitter with a running conversation on ancient history. We call it alternative. That's not our label. That's what mainstream calls us, so they can recognize their own and then try and alienate us when they can. And they got nothing.
And do the giggling thing, and have the woo music in the background. This dude's a loony.
Yeah, they try and make it look like we're tinfoil hat wearers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they believe the aliens built it, and the Atlantis was true. Well, I guess they can't use the aliens explanation now to try and ridicule people because scratch that, that's real. So then now they're going to go hard to say Atlantis wasn't real. Oh well, I guess you're going to have to walk that one back too, guys. Sorry, we're following the evidence.
Hey, she asks, "What's up?" She asks, "What's up with the mass kidnapping?" Well, I'm very happy you brought that up. The mass kidnapping I'm referring to is the Brookshire mass kidnapping and assault, September 1st, 1971. No, 69. It was before I was born. September 1st, 1969, Brookshire, Massachusetts. And I know what the weather was that day. It was hot. That evening, some craft came and took kids, took men, took women, elderly people as well. And in certain circumstances, they put the people in the wrong chairs or seats of the car. They put grandma, who's never driven before a day in her life, right? They put her behind the driver's seat. So my theory is, whoever they are, they're fallible. They were assaulted. Some of them were assaulted because their abdomens hurt. They were also dropped off not where they were picked up at. Some of them were picked up from the inside of the car and left on the side of a lake. And this female I'm talking about had to walk home. To know more about this story, go to season 1 on Netflix, season 1, Unsolved Mysteries. It's like the 1 or 2 stories from the last episode, and it's called the Brookshire incident or something like that. Great cinematography. I loved how they were walking with this woman and her telling her story. And I know from other YouTube channels, there were hundreds of eyewitnesses. I believe there was at least one cow mutilation that night too. So that was one crazy night. The judge, who's now a judge there, said that when he was a kid and, they went out looking for this cow and it looked like it exploded from the inside. So that normally doesn't happen. Spontaneous exploding cow syndrome doesn't normally happen, but happens on those type of nights. Yeah. I don't usually watch things over and over, but that was such good stuff, man. I had to watch it. I think I've watched it 4 times already.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a good one. Dave was talking about with the Ukrainian utopia that he specializes in archaeoastronomy, which most certainly does, but he's they're experts on a lot of things. They're just being a little humble about it. But the megalithic sites, I think did we have this discussion off air about how the archaeoacoustics properties are being found to the majority of megaliths across the planet have amphitheaters and things, or some type of built-in standing harmonic resonance between 70 and 130 hertz, where it switches off the part of the brain of a logical thinking left brain and allows for a higher experience with the right brain, kind of like part of what I can equate it to is a religious experience, but it doesn't have to be on religion. It can be anything, where meditation or whatever to get there. But these, DMT was a gateway that they used for this with some of the shamans, but this was a way they do it in antiquity without needing the drug to do it with. They could do it in these resonant chambers like at the Hypogeum at Malta that's underground, that you can stand in one place and speak just in a normal tone of voice, and it will resonate through the entire structure underground. And if you sing, and especially you get more than one voice in harmony in a deep bass tone, it will resonate through you, where you can literally feel the vibration nonstop. If they carry the note, it will just keep on resonating, larger and larger, and it creates this higher awareness. But it seems like maybe that is a way that they were able to contact these non-human entities on that collective consciousness, to tap into that and interface with them, that we have lost since the last flood around 3000 BC. We lost that ability to communicate, and we haven't found our way back. We have all this modern technologies and things, but we're woefully ignorant on the ancient connections that we had with things that are beyond us. And this was prolific across the entire ancient world. 80% or more of the megalithic structures have standing wave resonance features and or nubs, and also the archaeoastronomy alignments like Göbekli Tepe, that was possibly an observatory for marking the cyclic comet that finally destroyed them during Younger Dryas. But it's all connected, and we've lost a huge part of our past. I hate to be cliche, but Graham Hancock is right. We're a species with amnesia, and in more ways than one, pretty much every way. And we think that we are advanced and we know everything. We don't have a clue. We don't know what we don't know yet, but we're trying to educate people on it.
Yep. So, Anonymous Rex is here.
Hey. Yep. Terry Hall's here too. Linda, Jenny Girl, Michael Elwell. Yeah, here again. Fun channel. If I miss anybody, it's not intentional, but you all are appreciated for showing up. We do want to have a ancient history episode soon, and I'd really like ideally to bring at least one of these fine gentlemen in with us. If they would grace us with their time. We can schedule that with Andrew or Dave or both. That would be ideal, and give a magical mystery tour. Andrew has got a catalog of, 7, 8 gigs now of collected pictures of sites around the world, and I'm trying to encourage him to put together one of ancient, and I hate using the term ancient aliens, but ancient paleo contact and beings that we can use as examples to help bridge the ancient with the modern, and show that there's that connection, because the oldest one I'm aware of goes back to 40,000 BC, of that huge bulbous head monster looking thing. It's like 3 stories tall, that was on a cave in Australia, I believe it was. A terrifying looking thing. He ain't from around here. That's all I know. So I think some of these were just passing through and found out, hey, this planet's occupied. Get the hell off. It's our rock. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But they got their nose bloody while they're here, because those are one-off drawings or paintings, as the case may be, where other ones are institutionalized with the fine sculptures, carvings, and things, where they're basically memorializing themselves as deities or whatever. But they're statuary and temples both built to specific groups of beings that aren't human. I don't know what you'd call them. So you can fill in the blank. It seems to be a little bit of all the above. So they're an equal opportunity cryptid phenomena. All inclusive. It's not alienating religion, cryptids, folklore, you name it. The phenomena. I look at it like a carnival runway, where you have all these different games you can stop and play. There's all these different rides, and everybody thinks, oh, this ride's the right one. No, it's that ride, and no, it's this game. No, it's that game. But nobody looks down at the end of the causeway at the trailer where the shades are pulled down, but the lights are on, and you can see movement, but nobody knows what's in the trailer that's really orchestrating the rest of it out here. That is where we're trying to look. because these are the rides and the games are systems within a system, and we can't get caught up in these tar babies. We need to look at the big picture of it. These are all artifacts of the big picture, but it's not the big picture.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. He's also saving the videos to the catalog. So yeah, we will go over that soon.
Yeah. We're going to get our act straight around here, and as time goes on, today's our first live stream. As time goes on, we'll be more prepared. I may be able to figure out how to throw some pictures up here too. And if you guys have a story, I know at least one person here who has one. You need to contact us, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. And these are all puzzle pieces, right? And what I really enjoy doing is putting these puzzle pieces together. And I've done it a couple of times, like this week, it seems. A little backstory, Dave Beatty, if you don't know who he is, you go on YouTube and you look at the Nimitz UAP encounters. I believe the Nimitz encounters is that's my son, Mikey, by the way. Hi, Mikey. So Dave Beatty came up with the illustration of what that Tic Tac. You've probably seen it on different shows. The Tic Tac doing that number in the water, and the F-18 following it, right? Well, he did all that wonderful work, and he recently came out with a story of a sailor who saw a orb off the port or starboard bow of the USS Ronald Reagan off the coast of where? Puerto Rico. That's an ongoing thing. That's where the Kennedy was. So I basically contacted him. I talked to him on the phone. I said, hey, we got two puzzle pieces and they fit. But there were some differences. The Ronald Reagan didn't go to general quarters. However, JFK did. JFK is not nuke. Ronald Reagan's a nuke. However, the rumor was there was nuclear ordnance on board at that time. So it's really satisfying to do this kind of research and finding these pieces that actually fit together. Because the longest time you get these stories, and as a former investigator in the military, I'm looking for something, like throw me a bone here. If this craft, if you drew a craft and someone over here had the same craft, okay, this is probably the same craft. I had a Christmas tree on top and, garbage cans hanging off the bottom. I don't know. It just nothing ever matched. And these things are now matching. And if you're now just joining us early in the show, we got information about in 1981, there was a triangle that was above the Eisenhower, and they shot a missile at it. I don't know if it was them or it was one of the other vessels around. And it was reported that there was an accidental missile discharge, where I'm telling you, that's never happened. It's never happened, folks. That's never happened.
Yeah, just like they say guns kill people. My guns have never got up on their own and chased after anybody that I've ever seen. I've never heard anybody else do that either. It's that anything can be used as a weapon. Somebody was telling me, yeah, well, in the military, we call those, weapons instead of guns. Well, from my background, anything can be used as a weapon, so I have to discern. I get to call it a firearm, but in the Ozarks, we just use gun. Because those big two-syllable words are just too fancy for us. So, don't need a $20 word when a 10-cent one will do.
Yeah. But the meeting we had today, folks, was exciting. It's what I do know is that this effort is going to be awesome. It's going to get a lot of exposure. A lot of big names are going to come in and be part of this. Some hints of some national networks will be popping off. The name of this unknown, we haven't named it yet. That's one of the things we got to name this effort.
Yeah,
this
I kind of
charity
like
effort. So.
I kind of like the vets and vets, but obviously it's up for consideration.
Yeah.
Your final stamp of approval.
Yeah, I'm probably good with it. We'll just have a meeting about that and come up on what we need to do. Other than that,
being able
what do we
to
have in store?
Well, given the demographics between veterans and veterinarians, where people, if they don't love veterans, they probably love animals. So we're covering both bases with helping to fundraise for a no-kill animal shelter, Wounded Warrior Project, and pinups for veterans. Pinups for vets, something like that. Anyway, they're going to be our three benefactors of this.
Yeah, I know something else that's going to be auctioned off, and I can't say what it is, but the person that I can't say who it is either, who said, "Hey, we can do this too." Oh man, I want that. I want that in my collection. Bad.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be wearing that around my neck.
I have a sneaking suspicion you could probably acquire one of those. I probably wouldn't be as fortunate, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I am content. Just being part of the ride.
Yeah. See, I got one up here, I think. What else is in the chat there? Oh, here, I found it.
I had Anonymous Rex, if he's still around, asking me about Kailash Temple, the monolith. For those who don't know, Kailash Temple in India was carved from the top down out of a mountain of basalt, literally. It's one piece of rock, the most ornate temple on the planet that's been carved out of one singular piece of giant basalt bedrock. And it was the only one. All the other ones are carved from the side of the mountain inward. This one was carved from the top downward. There was more rock removed from that than was used to build the Great Pyramid, and no one knows where all that rock went. My speculation that I'm still trying to give validity to is that perhaps it was vaporized from a high heat energy source that may all the surfaces of Kailash are like they're smoothed out, like they have a glaze to it, so it would kind of indicate the process that carved it, also cauterized it to make it a smooth surface. So it may indicate a very high energy instrument, like a laser that could carve from different angles and different depths and different temperatures.
Hopefully, everybody was wearing 3M mask because if they're vaporizing that stuff, you don't want to be breathing it.
Well, there's ancient statues all over the place that look like they're wearing space helmets and things that to me they remind me of a deep sea diving gear, but also it kind of hit me a while back that they could be wearing respirators and things from working with rock, because they call the people that worked on the roadways out here, they call them the Widowmaker, hammering the jackhammers and stuff because they got in the lungs and killed them. But the rest of this question about Kailash. Go ahead.
Here's my pride and joy. On the top, it says Master at Arms. On the bottom, Precinct 67. And on the back, USS John F. Kennedy. So that's my favorite coin out of all of them. I only found one around here, so I can't give the other one away. I was wanting to give away another one. That ain't happening.
No. But anyway, he was asking how that fit into the Book of Giants and the Book of Enoch. I kind of seen down that rabbit trail a while back. The way it fits in with Giants is that if you want to go with the narrative, and you don't have to buy into the religion part, but the essence rings true of the Old Testament, the Vedic, Zoroastrianism, the Anunnaki stories. They all have that common theme that there was a group that that came to the planet that rebelled from some other group, and they had obviously superior um, abilities over humans, to where they set themselves up as little g gods. They rebelled against the main um, groups that they were with, and that was not to their liking. They warred with each other. Before they warred, they had offspring that were the giants, the old renowned. That's where you probably get the pantheons of the Greek demigods, the Norse gods, all that. There's some um, credence that those beings actually existed, and they weren't the one true God over all of it, or whatever you want to call the creator or creators. I don't know, but that's just another topic for another day. But
Mm-hmm.
um, they they had offspring, and they had some of them they were mortal, and semi-mortal. They lived like in the Old Testament it says they lived for like 500 years. In the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants, and then there was the battle between the factions that were trying to help humanity evolve. At one type of self-determination, other ones that want to subjugate. This happens all throughout history that we know of, different times, different places, different ways, where they've been overtly immersed in humanity and then covertly immersed in humanity and tipping the scales from the sidelines without us knowing about it. So, and everything in between. But what does run true is that humanity keeps getting set back to the Stone Age. We're aware of it happening 3 times in the last 13,000 years. So, what's going to be the outcome of this emergence of a contact? I am hoping, I'm expecting the worst, but I'm hoping for the best. I hope it's not a Revelations type end of time scenario, because that's happened before with humanity. I'm hoping for something a little bit more neutral. But I think that 75 years ago, as a species, we should have been having this conversation when nuclear weapons and stuff first came on the scene. But since this was suppressed, we could have been having the same conversation in 1966 that we're having now with the congressional hearings and the outcome of that. We could have been doing the same 5 years ago and figuring this out as a species together, but instead the powers that be wanted to bury this, and now we've lost 75 years that we could have been advancing this topic to figure it the hell out, and maybe divert some kind of outcome that wouldn't be beneficial to humanity in the long run. So, yeah, it just seems to me from the research and the history that this phenomenon is a monolith. There are factions of it. Some that are trying to keep disclosure from happening. Some that are trying to get it to happen. And which side is good or bad? I don't know. I don't know if there's a good or bad with this. They're just different opinions, it seems, and we're caught in that crossfire. So who knows? But I feel like this is their home too, for most of the part, and they have a right to self-defense, as anything would in their environment. So the fact that they haven't contacted us overtly seems to me that there is some kind of rules of engagement in place, because otherwise they could just come out and say what and do whatever they want, and like the days of old, subjugate humanity again, and there's no oversight, or anyone on our behalf that is looking after humanity. The fact that we are, considered self-determination and free will for humanity, that we're allowed to plot our own course up to an extent. When we're able to take the rest of the planet with us, I think that is some kind of a breaking point where maybe they're not going to let us. I don't know. But it's something we should be talking about is the civilization, and not left to an elite few in a back room somewhere trying to decide the fate of all humanity. That's not right. So that's why partly they want disclosure, is so the majority of humanity can have this conversation and decide as a whole, or at least the majority, what we should do moving forward to remedy this, because there's no guarantee that this phenomenon will ever speak to us overtly, more so than it's doing now. It could deproliferate, take all the nukes away, and then disappear again and never say a word to us. That could happen. I mean, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
So we need to control our expectations, manage them, and be realistic in what we expect. we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. All of us wish for a better way, an easier way, but that's not really realistic of the human experience. And I do believe that we're immortal, and this flesh is just a temporary encounter. Because if we knew in the flesh that we were immortal, where's the incentive to do good things and treat our fellow man with kindness and respect, and not just be a monster? If we're immortal and can't be hurt, where would be the incentive to try to do the right thing? As far as
Right.
civilization is concerned, we wouldn't have that. So being mortal allows us to number our days and not take it for granted. And I think that's part of what we're meant to learn, and why it's called faith, that there's an afterlife, not fact, because otherwise people would be taking that for granted.
Yeah. Anonymous Rex says, I have a question from my homework assignment. How are examples linked like the, is it Kalish temple, monolith, and evidence as written in the book of the giants as to our potential history with giants?
I answered that one already with where
you did. Okay.
The men of old and renowned and the offspring of the watchers of the Apkallu, whatever you want to call them. We had gods, we had demigods, but they were not the god. They even professed that they were not the god, the one true creator God of all. They were just little g gods that are way above mere mortals, but way below the pay grade of the one that created everything. So what, who, how many that is, that's anyone's guess. And that comes down to individual beliefs and faith. That it's an individual thing, and I believe that you shouldn't allow anyone else to interfere with your belief. If you feel you are correct with and at peace with what you feel is your creator, don't let anybody else dissuade you from that. Educate yourself, do the homework, and make sure you've got accurate information to go on. But from there, it's no one else's business what you believe or don't believe. Don't let somebody hold you contrary to your convictions, because I found that our instincts are most usually right, and Linda and there's several that can attest to that. That we need to go with our gut and let it guide us, not second guess it with logic and other people outside of ourselves. Because I found that more often than not, that is not the correct choice. Is listening to someone else over our own instincts.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, Dave, Ukraine Utopia, everybody has their own truth. Yeah, it's subjective on that aspect, wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Well, I hope we. So, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you can now.
Okay.
No.
I think we did pretty good on our first live broadcast. Let's see if anybody else has any questions here. Oh yeah, right there, folks. Hashtag Lou for Congress. Someone said. Someone said something about that.
Dave brings up a good point in the link he popped in here.
Yeah.
The vitrified forts that run from British Isles all the way down through toward the Middle East. They say that the entire forts are vitrified. They are high heat, melted, welded, and they tried to say in mainstream that they just piled a bunch of logs up against it and burn it for a little while, and that's what created the vitrification on all these different forts. That's just not practical. It was something that had temperatures, I think it was over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 3,000 degrees, that was able to blanch.
And I think they demonstrated this already, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've had people demonstrate that you just can't do it.
Yeah, you can't get enough wood stacked. You'd have to have it inside of an iron forge with bellows. You don't get that out in the open. This had to be something either nuclear weapons or the equivalent of that heat range, and I think it's a little bit of the both, weapons and natural impactors that came in from space that have their gas plumes, when they come into the atmosphere, ignite and can cause high heat vitrification like that. So I think
Mhm.
there's blocks in Peru that are melted in little swaths. You can see the walls that are put together, the megalithic structures with big blocks, but they're melted like marshmallows in diagonal rows. They're like maybe a yard or two across. So you could see where something high energy weapon of some sort went down and just melted swaths of it away, which you don't get in nature. And scientists say that they melted from the inside out. It was a microwave type energy, and you don't get that in nature.
Yeah.
So there, we have a lot of our history that's being covered up that they do know about. There was one that I studied from LAH that talked about devices that were the TNT yield in Peru and Turkey, a sister site that had the exact same megalithic blocks. They both had impact craters beside them that were called sacred lakes. They didn't have a flat bottom on either one. They were concave, which is indicative of a blast crater, a bomb crater, not an actual formed lake. So it's anyone's guess as to what if it was its TNT equivalencies, that they could even tell where the blast radius was from the center out, according to the damage. And there are giant sections of bedrock that were made into megalithic structures that were just blown out of the ground and upside down that weighs like many hundreds, if not thousands of tons that are dislocated,
Right.
just shattered. So yeah, there's plenty of evidence if you want to look for ancient warfare. It wasn't humans doing that. We didn't have that kind of technologies. We don't have that kind now.
Nope. Boggles my mind on how they do it. I certainly don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we did pretty good tonight. We did an hour and 16 minutes and 58 seconds. Rob, do we have anything else we want to inform our audience? Pretty good for the first time, and maybe we'll try to get you guys links so that you can come and share your stories with us. We'd love to have you on and listen to what you have to say.
Last of the Finest was wanting to come on, but it's too late now. He's saying he has to teach in the morning, and yeah, we'll definitely get you a link ahead of time next time and have you come on and tell us what your experience is. That'd be cool.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, that is it, folks. And if you haven't done so, please hit the like, please subscribe, hit that notification, because God knows when Rob and I will just out of nowhere start doing a live broadcast, especially if something big happens, some more puzzle pieces are fitting together, and we just want to let you guys know what's going on. Other than that, I think we're going to go ahead and call this one all done. Wrap it up. Stick a fork in it. All right, folks. You all have a good one, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Night.